There is a place on the border of the Czech Republic and Germany, a sprawling ancient forest known as the Green Roof of Europe. This is the Bavarian forest. And it was here, in this deep, quiet wood, that our story begins. The year is 1803. A man, dressed in little more than rags, builds a solitary hut deep within the trees. No one knew where he came from or why he had sought refuge in the wilderness. He survived on odd jobs, fetching tools for the village blacksmith, tending cattle in the meadows, a ghost at the edge of civilization. But soon, unsettling rumors began to drift through the nearby towns, whispers of a madman in the woods. A war will come, he'd mutter to the empty air, his eyes wide with a terrifying light. Then another war, and then the final war. The men on horseback will not let go of the reins, he'd cry out, and the women and children will grow ever poorer. The villagers dismissed him as a lunatic, a harmless, broken mind. In response, he didn't change his ways. He simply retreated deeper into the forest embrace, disappearing further into the shadows. But then, something happened. Something that suggested his ramblings were not madness at all. His words started coming true. The old trees will vanish from this land, he had prophesied. The leaves of the forest will become as light as a beggar's rags. In the early 18th century, an unknown blight swept through the Bavarian forest, causing ancient trees to wither and die en masse. Countless native species were wiped out, believed to be lost forever. One chronicle from the time described the chilling sight. The surface of the sick leaves, it reads, was riddled with holes, resembling the tattered, worn-out clothes of a beggar. As more of his strange predictions materialized, the villagers' fear turned to awe. They began to believe he wasn't mad, but that he could see the future. The man who was once a ghost, an outcast, now had a name. He was Mühlhiasl, the prophet of the Bavarian forest. But who was this mysterious hermit prophet? The truth is, concrete information about Mühlhiasl is frustratingly scarce. Exhaustive searches of the era's records in the Central Archives of Regensburg, the State Archives of Landshave, unearthed various traces of his life, but his true name has never been found. What we do know is this. The records suggest he was originally from a place called Hunderdorf. In 1778, he took over a mill run by the Wittenberg Monastery, operating it for 20 years. But this period was far from peaceful. He was constantly at odds with the monks. They accused him of bewitching the people, of selling spoiled flour. The endless scandals wore him down. Finally, deep in debt to the very monastery he fought, he lost everything. The mill was taken, his family scattered. And as he left the town, a broken man, he is said to have hurled a curse at the monastery, a curse that will be recorded as his first official prophecy. "It is not my flour that is rotten, but the conscience of the monks," he declared. "Soon they will all be cast out from this monastery and wander without a home. Only then will the stolen land and grain return to those who truly need it." The very next year, in 1803, in a wave of secularization sweeping Germany, the Wittenberg Monastery was shut down by the state. Its lands were seized, and the building was converted into a shelter for the poor. Tragically, almost all records of Mühlhiasl end the moment he walks into the forest. His life as a prophet is a ghost story, pieced together from a few scattered, chilling fragments he supposedly left for posterity. The world will go bankrupt from that final war. All that was harvested, all that was achieved will be lost. After the third great disaster, the world will return to the beginning. But here is where the mystery deepens, twisting into something even more incredible. Because Mühlhiasl was not the only prophet active in this exact region at this exact time. There was another. His name was Matthias Stormberger. Stormberger was a herdsman from a village near the Czech border. He too was known as a seer, a man who could glimpse the future, predicting events both great and small. And his prophecies were terrifyingly specific. Iron monsters will appear, running through the wilderness and flying like birds. When the monsters' road is completed at the edge of the forest, the first great war will begin. Iron fortresses that move without a sound will appear, with new kinds of weapons. The earth will explode, and smoke will fall from the sky, killing and injuring many. That terrible war will last for 2 sets of 2 years. Matthias Stormberger is believed to have died in 1805. 109 years later, on the 1st of August, 1914, a a new railway line was completed on the outskirts of Stormberger's village. Immediately after, World War I erupted. Silent, moving iron fortress tanks were invented. The earth exploded with grenades and landmines, while poisonous gas rained down from the sky. The war lasted for 4 years. His visions continued. After the war, money will lose all value. Though there is no famine, people will not be able to buy a loaf of bread even with great sums of money. But the value of gold will soar, so much that a few gold pieces can buy a farm. Immediately following World War I, in 1921, Germany's economy collapsed into a hyperinflationary spiral. Prices rose by a billionfold in 2 years. It was a time when people said it was cheaper to use banknotes as toilet paper. And the value of gold? It skyrocketed. 50 gold pieces could buy a small farm. "20 to 30 years after the First Great War," Stormberger predicted, "a second, much larger war will begin. Almost every nation in the world will take part. Millions of civilians will die. Fire will fall from the sky and destroy a great city." 20 years after the end of the First War, on the 1st of September, 1939, World War II began. Over 30 nations were dragged into a conflict that claimed 85 million lives, the deadliest in human history, the majority of them civilians. From the outbreak of 2 world wars to economic disaster and future technologies, Stormberger's prophecies hit their mark with chilling accuracy. As the modern era dawned, he was hailed as the German Nostradamus. People pored over his unfulfilled prophecies, offering countless interpretations. But there was one strange problem. For a set of prophecies so famous, the original manuscript was nowhere to be found. And this absence gave rise to a chilling theory of its own. The theory goes like this. In the chaotic 1930s, Stormberger's prophecies resonated with a public gripped by anxiety and fascination. But among his predictions was a passage that seemed to hint at the rise and fall of Adolf Hitler. When these rumors reached the Nazi regime, they allegedly confiscated and burned every copy of the prophecy they could find. The words we have today are merely fragments, smuggled out before the fires. Did Hitler truly order the destruction of the prophecies? We can't know for sure. But we do know the Nazis ruthlessly suppressed any book or document that contradicted their ideology. Is it so hard to believe Stormberger's predictions were on that list? So we are left with 2 prophets, Mühlhiasl and Stormberger, 2 men emerging from the same region, in the same era, predicting the same world-shattering events. It has led some to a startling conclusion that they were, in fact, the same person. The theory suggests that Mühlhiasl was a nickname used during his anonymous pre-prophetic life, that after gaining fame as a seer, he settled down and took the name Matthias Stormberger. But as of today, there is no hard evidence to prove it. A prominent researcher, Wolfgang Odzug, states that Mühlhiasl was likely a man from the Langmiller family who lived out his days as a shepherd in the Bavarian forest and died in 1825. As for Matthias Stormberger, his time and place of death remain a complete unknown. So, is there truly no connection between these 2 veiled prophets? Is their shared, terrifying vision of a 3rd and final world war just a coincidence? Or, as their prophecies warn, is a 3rd great disaster looming in our near future? After the 2nd Great War, a 3rd, all-deciding war will begin. It will kill more people than all previous wars combined, and those who know the truth will fall silent. This has been the Repository of Wonders.